Welcome back to Mind Over Habit, the podcast where we explore the habits, mindset, and life changing perspective that help us grow personally and professionally. I'm your host, Moses, and today we are diving into a topic that many people know they should do, but often struggle to stick with meditation. So, for some people, the idea of sitting quietly with their thoughts sounds peaceful. For others, it sounds impossible. What if meditation didn't require sitting still? What if mindfulness could happen while you are walking, moving, thinking, and simply living your life? Today's guest has built an entire movement around that idea. Stay tuned because this conversation might completely change the way you think about meditation. Joining me today is Breanna Rae, creator of the Walking Meditation app and the voice behind what she calls Rebel Mindfulness, a no rules approach to meditation designed for people who don't fit the traditional mindfulness mode. Brian holds a doctorate in integrated behavioral health and has spent her career studying human behavior and wellness. Her unique approach was born during one of the most difficult periods of her life when grief, uncertainty, and major life changes forced her to rethink everything she knew about mindfulness. Today, she's helping people discover that meditation can be practical, accessible, and deeply healing, even if they never sit still. Brian, welcome to Mind Over Habit.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. And you're right. I think that the hard part for a lot of people is just that stillness piece. It's so hard to sit still. Maybe even harder now than it ever has been. There's so many things going on. There's so many stressors. There's so many things that we want to be doing, that we feel like we should and need to be doing, that when we sit down to try to meditate, it feels impossible. And for me, I couldn't I had been a long-term meditator, and up until the point where my life kind of took a turn, it was kind of working for me still. I felt pretty good about it. And I thought I knew a lot about meditation up until that point too. And then things changed. Things got really, really hard. I know you know this about me already, but for your listeners, I had my sister passed away in 2022 unexpectedly. And I thought that maybe this would be the case. She had been sort of sick for a little bit, but nothing really prepares you for that amount of grief, like losing a sibling. And it was really challenging. I mean, it's a dumb way to say it, but it turned my whole life upside down. And I couldn't sit still anymore. I had too many thoughts in my head and too many sadnesses or regrets or things that I wish that I had done differently. And I couldn't do my meditation practice anymore. So I started doing something different, which is the idea of walking with it.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us, Ray. So let me ask, you often use the phrase rebel mindfulness. So what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, I was sort of thinking about, I wrote a blog not too long ago about being bad at meditation. Um, when you're trying to help somebody else do something, you're like a meditation teacher, you feel like you have to be good at it. And I'm not good at it. The whole reason why I started to build this walking meditation practice is because I'm not really that good at sitting still. And I don't want to pretend that I'm good at it. But I started to think about probably a lot of people don't try meditation because they think that they're not going to be good at it and they don't want to try and be good at it. And neither do I. I don't want to be good at meditation. The whole point of doing any of this isn't to be good at meditation, it's to feel better. I don't want to be good at meditation. I just want to feel better. And so if I could just be bad at meditation and still do it a little bit, then maybe that would be okay too. And I think that when we think about meditation, there's questions that come up like, do I have to go to a Zen Buddhist monk monastery? Or like, do I have to read a book on it? Or like, do I have to, like, what if I do it wrong? Or, and that's exhausting. If you have to do it right, if there's something that I have to do in a right way, I don't have any interest in doing that anymore. I don't want to be good at things. I just want things to feel good. And so that's what I was thinking is that what if we just took this like rebel approach to mindfulness and we said that there weren't any rules. Like, and if there are rules, who cares? Don't do it. Do it however you want to do it. And honestly, if you were to follow me around on like a week and look at my meditation practice, it's not great. I don't do everything that you're supposed to do. Sometimes I skip a day or a couple of days, or sometimes I skip through some of the meditation, or I just stop listening halfway through. But it doesn't matter because this is my practice. And as long as I'm feeling good about it and it's helping me in some direction, that should be okay too. So that's Rebel Mindfulness. It's just any type of mindfulness practice that works for you, regardless of whether you break all the rules or not.
All right. So, Ray, many people believe meditation requires sitting silently with perfectly clear mind. Why do you think that belief keeps so many people from starting?
Well, because it's impossible. There is, and meditation teachers in this traditional meditation like mindset of needing to clear your mind will also tell you that while it's the goal, it's not the point. So having the goal of trying to clear your mind is generally a good practice. It's a good idea. But it's not the point of meditating. The point of meditating is just the practice of it, just giving yourself the opportunity to even try clearing your mind and to see how absolutely frustrating that is, and to recognize that it is impossible. But if you come into meditation with the idea that the goal is to clear your mind and you have to do that as the goal, you're probably going to struggle with it. And maybe sometimes for some people, when they struggle with trying to clear their mind, they feel like, well, I'm not very good at it. This is really hard. It's uncomfortable. It sucks. I hate it. And then they stop doing it. But if you realize that the whole point is for you to feel anything, whether that's being frustrated or upset or whatever comes up for you, just recognizing, at least just for a little while, giving yourself an opportunity to recognize what you're feeling. That actually is the goal. But it's hard to know that. And so we have to start giving people permission to do it bad. We have to start giving people permission to do it, not just to say like, hey, you're probably not going to be very good at meditation at first, but also to say, you might not be good at meditation ever. This might be something that you're bad at for the rest of your life, and that's great. As long as you still feel like you're getting something out of your practice, that's the goal.
That is thoughtful and deep. So, let me ask, can you take us back to the difficult season in your life that completely
Mm.
changed your relationship with meditation?
Yeah. Yeah, part of it was my sister dying very unexpectedly. I would say unexpectedly is kind of not the right way. Of course, I imagined that she might die before me. Like I said, she was pretty sick emotionally and physically. Um, but it was always a shock. And before I said that nothing ever really prepares you for that kind of change, but it changed me in a lot of fundamental ways. I think grief is just so crazy. It really is not something that you can even predict. Even if you've studied it, like I've studied it, or even if you've helped other people through feelings of loss, when it's your turn to go through it, you can't predict how you're going to feel or what it's going to bring up in you. And at that same time, I was sort of going through losing a career that I was building. There was a company that I was working towards building that didn't go in the direction that I wanted it to go in. And I was now looking for a new position. And that it took me quite a long time to find a new job. And so at the same time as I lost my sister, I also sort of lost my identity in the work that I was doing. Um, and it was wild. It was like, what if I could have been a better sister? Would that have changed? Would she still be alive? Like maybe I'm just not I wasn't good enough or I didn't do enough. And maybe if I could have been a better employee, that company would have survived. And you know, meditation sometimes can help you understand and sort out your thoughts, but then when there's a little bit of truth to it, and it's painful, and it's not like those things are going away. There's no changing the having the loss of a person in your life. Sometimes just sitting quietly isn't enough. You do have to move your body. You have to get it out and be sometimes even change the scenery and change the people that you're around. And the hardest part is remembering who you really are through all of it. Yeah, we can all probably be better to people that we love. We could probably all be a little kinder, listen a little bit better. But most likely nothing that I could have done was going to prevent my sister from dying. But it's hard to remind yourself of that. You're only one person. You're doing the best that you can. You're showing up and you're learning and you're growing, and that is enough. Even if stuff doesn't turn out the way that you think it should, it's enough for you to just keep trying. And if we can think about meditation in that way, it seems to make more sense. And it really does help with just sort of grappling with these thoughts of whether or not I'm doing the right stuff, or whether or not I'm doing enough, or whether or not I'm good enough. Those are the hard things. When life gets hard, that sort of self-talk really makes it much worse.
Let me ask, at what point did you realize that traditional meditation wasn't giving you what you needed during that period?
It was it was pretty apparent. Like I just couldn't sit. Like I would get this like rush of emotion, like anger, frustration, or sadness, and I felt like I needed to do something with my body. So it was pretty quickly that I realized that it wasn't going to do the same things. And you know, now almost 3 years later, and I'm doing this research for trying to understand why pairing a mindfulness practice with some walking, it had been really so helpful for me, was just kind of understanding that emotions do sort of live in our bodies, and when we are so up in our heads, grief and anxiety and sometimes even depression can really make us just overthink and try and solve everything all of the time. But we just sort of forget that we have a whole body. We have, hands, and we have feet, we have eyes, and we have, all of our senses. And so getting out and walking and being out, sometimes being outside, did help me remember, oh yeah, like there are birds singing, and there's sunshine, and there's like the crunching of the leaves under my feet. Just being able to distract my thoughts from all of this trying to solve it while I'm sitting there just being still. Sometimes in meditation you try to like narrow all of your senses down and not have very many distractions. But with mindfulness, especially with walking, you're actually trying to widen your senses to recognize what's going on around you, so that you can say, oh, yeah, I am sad, but wow, that's a lovely bird sound. Or, oh, that smell is like the crisp air smell of spring, or whatever the feelings are. Sometimes being able to bring your awareness back into like what you can see and what you can feel and what you can hear, and inviting your body to do a little bit of movement really makes all of the difference. I couldn't sit there and just keep thinking about it or trying not to think about it, but I could get out and think about something else for a little while, and that really helped to change everything.
So, how did walking become part of the solution?
Hmm. In that same exact way. Probably also because I don't know if you do this or not, but I'm like a natural pacer. When I get on the phone with somebody, I just like walk back and forth sometimes, or I'm just kind of an antsy, fidgety kind of person anyways. I bounce my hands and my feet while I'm talking, and I've got a lot of just natural body energy. So it felt, and I also have dogs. So, if I was really just under it and I really was so sad, I would still have to get up and walk my dogs. And I started to realize that when you're on a walk, a lot of things happen when you're walking, especially if you really don't have a reason to be walking. If you're just walking to walk the dog or walking just for yourself, your mind does tend to kind of clear up. I know companies now do this sort of walk and brainstorm or walk and do a team meeting together, because when you give your body something to do as you're walking, it stimulates these spots in your brain to allow you to access more clarity and creativity. You might feel like, oh yeah, I'm putting the pieces together more. It could be a couple of things. It can be that increased oxygen to your brain, can be the increased blood flow in your body. I know it definitely changes the chemical reactions in your brain and like floods your brain with like the feel good hormones as you're walking. Probably just like 3 or so minutes into your walk, you might notice that you're feeling a little bit better just from that a little bit of movement and the change in your breath patterns and the bilateral stimulation, the one foot and then the next foot changes in the bilateral movement of the body can help you not only feel like you're back in your body and less up in your head, but it can also physically, chemically change your mindset.
Okay, what happens psychologically and physiologically when movement and mindfulness are combined?
Yeah. I think that's the magic benefit is you first get all of that antsy energy out. So you get something to do with your body that helps allow your body to relax. In yoga, they say that the peak pose is that last pose when you're just laying down. And most people, if they've done yoga, they can think about how nice it feels at the very end of a class to just be laying down for a few minutes. You feel like you earned that rest because you did all of these hard physical activity things prior to that. So that's kind of the same thing that you get with walking, is that your body gets to be in motion. And so all of those body signals of being antsy or being fidgety or needing to move while you're sitting still, those all go away. And it clears you up, it frees you up to be able to drop into more creative mindsets where you are potentially less likely to do all of those same sort of ruminating thought loops. And especially if you give yourself something to listen to, like something very specific, sort of how I've built the walking meditation app on these guided audios. You just, turn them on and then you walk while you listen. Having those couple little things to think about while you're walking, to me and for a lot of people, it seems like it's a lot of easier of a way to access mindfulness. You can just press play, you can listen to some little pieces of wisdom or some little pieces of remembering, like reminders to listen for the birds or reminders to look around and appreciate the beauty in your area, reminders to feel what it feels like to be walking, in addition to actually, once you're a couple of minutes in, you realize, okay, I did kind of stop thinking as much. Like I did slow, my brain did start to quiet down. And part of that's happening psychologically, but part of that's happening physiologically, like you were saying, because of the chemical changes in the brain as you walk. And while you're doing any type of exercise, it really does allow you to feel less stuck in your thoughts.
What do you think walking meditation works so well for people who struggle with anxiety, stress, or overthinking?
It can. I think that it can work better for those types of people because you don't have to force your body to sit still. It probably actually will also work really well for people with ADHD because you're not just trying to focus on one thing. You're giving your body and your mind permission to do a couple different things at the same time. And that goes back to that idea of rebel mindfulness. You don't have to do it right or correct or well in any direction. You just have to listen and walk, and maybe you don't even register that you're walking at some point. You're just walking. And that seems to be nice for the people that are fidgety like me, or have a hard time focusing, or just really busy, or people that are really stuck in grief and loss that lives in your body. We have like cellular memories of those feelings of sadness kind of sometimes get stuck like in our shoulders and in our stomach, the knots in your stomach, or the tension headache sometimes you feel. And when we just allow your body to have that like natural rhythm or flow of walking, sometimes that all goes away. And that can feel really beneficial. There's a person on the walking meditation app really early on messaged me and told me that she had lifelong low back pain. And even just after 3 of these mindful style walking techniques, she was sleeping better. She was way less stressed at work, and she didn't have any back pain anymore. I mean, that's probably a stretch. That I'm so glad that she felt that way. But I don't know that everyone's going to feel that way, but they at least will potentially feel a little bit better. It might be easier than just trying to sit.
Okay, for someone who says, I've tried meditation and it just doesn't work for me, what will you say?
I, this is my personal opinion, not my professional opinion, because we're all just humans. It's not gonna work for everybody. And if it doesn't work for you, that's okay, right? Like it's not because you're broken, or not because you need to try harder. Sometimes things just don't work. And it might not be that it works for you at all. It might just not work for you right now. So if it doesn't work for you, try something else and see if it does work for you. If you've tried sitting meditations in the past and you want to try the walking ones, just try it with an open mind and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, that's totally fine. But it is your responsibility to try something until you find something that does work for you, because there will be something out there that does work for you. You just have to keep trying.
Okay, can you tell us about the walking meditation app and what users can expect when they begin using it?
Yeah, so I started by, in those moments of time where I was really, I don't know, stuck and not being able to get out of my own head about it. I started to think like, oh, what things would I really want? If I had a wish list and I had somebody that could walk with me and tell me like the perfect things, what would I want them to say? So I just started like writing that down. And then I took those and I turned them into meditations, and I recorded them on my phone so that when I was doing my own walks, I could listen to them. And then I thought, oh, this is really helping me. I think it probably could help my family. My sister has 3 kids, and I wanted to just maybe remind them of how strong and capable and fierce they are, and wanted to remind them that hard things happen but they don't last. And I had all these ideas of like, if my sister were here, this is what she would want to say to her kids. So I wrote those things down too. And it ends up becoming, on the app, there's a 30-day program. Once you listen to one, you check that one off, and the next one will unlock for you. And so it's like a little bit progressive. And each one of the meditations is a little bit of a noticing practice, helping you get into your body. And then it's a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of a reminder of who you are and what you can accomplish in life, just like a trusted friend would tell you. And you know, I wrote these for myself and I wrote them for my family because my family was going in this crazy grief period. But that doesn't mean that, you know, all of your listeners here, like everyone's invited into our family. So this is absolutely for you guys too. If you're feeling like you're going through grief or you've lost something, a person or a job or, you know, pieces of your identity, this can really help. And it's written in my words because I wanted to be the one to tell you. I wanted to be the one that my nieces and nephews heard this from. These are the words that I chose for the people that I care about, for my family, my global family also, for anyone that feels like they're struggling. And the app is free. It's completely free for anybody that wants to try it because I think that it's important for us to support each other and for this, you know, these messages to be available for people, especially in those times of need.
All right. Beyond stress reduction, what are some unexpected ways meditation can improve someone's life?
One of the things that I think is that you can make peace with your life. So part of that's stress reduction, but just being able to remember, first of all, remember that life isn't all bad, even though there's lots of bad in it. You can remember that there's good stuff too, and there's things that are worth listening to and doing and participating in again. It can also help you build confidence to remember who you are as a person and to recognize your own resilience. So you keep showing up and doing things for yourself. Can help you with feeling less pain. If you're stiff or if you don't get a lot of exercise in, this can be a great way to just loosen up a little bit. And then some people also tell me that it helps them with sleep. So you can sleep better. And there are so many studies out there about sleep. Sleep is like one of the major things that really can help you in every aspect of your life. Be a kinder person, probably, and I've heard this a lot too, is that people around you will start to recognize the benefits before you even do. They might be like, wow, what are you doing that's making you so much nicer? Or like, man, you seem like you're in a better mood today. And so it can help you with all of your personal relationships as well. You can feel more connected to the people in your life.
All right. Ray, can you share with us how can how listeners can connect with you and know more about your work?
Yeah, I am not on social media because it's bad for my brain. I don't feel like it helps me out too much. But you can find me at walkingmeditation.org. That's where you can see the blog. You can directly email me from there, and there's a download link there too for the App Store for that free download. And if you're on the app in the settings area, there's a section for you to send me a direct email as well. And I check that email a couple times a day. So that's actually me on there emailing and reporting to people. And so if you have questions or thoughts or concerns, or if you just want to talk about grief or anything else that's coming up, feel free to email me off of that. It's Breanna at walkingmeditation.org, or just go to walkingmeditation.org and catch up with me there.
All right, thank you. So this has been such an insightful conversation. One thing I appreciate about your message is how accessible you have made mindfulness. You have shown us that personal growth doesn't always require complicated systems, perfect routines, or hours of silence. Sometimes healing begins with something as simple as taking a walk and giving ourselves permission to be present. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your heart behind your work. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that your listeners have gotten something out of it.
It's a pleasure. All right, so everyone listening, I hope today's conversation serves as a reminder that there is no perfect way to begin your healing journey. You don't need perfect circumstance. You don't need perfect habit. And you certainly don't need a perfect meditation practice. Progress often begins with one small step, and small times that step is literally a walk. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this conversation with someone who could benefit from it. Until next time, remember, transformation uh, starts now. Transform your habits, strengthen your mindset, empower your growth. This is Mind Over Habit, and I remain the host, Moses. Thank you once